Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 40 of the Memorial Memo, KSR's Kentucky Women's Basketball Podcast. Today, not only am I joined by Mr. Zack Geoghegan himself for the first time, making his Memorial Memo debut, but KSR is live from Rupp Arena for the BBN United Fan Fest. Of course, we'll also have Jack's podcast, Sources Say. You'll be on there too, right after this. Zack, this is a really special day, right? Like, you think about, like, the fact we're even here at Rupp Arena, like, if you would have told us KSR would it be officially invited to do a podcast at Rupp Arena, we would have laughed at you a year ago, or even 48 hours ago. But we're here. Before we start, on behalf of myself, Zach, Jack, all of us at KSR, I want to thank you, K Athletics, because this is not only a really good opportunity for us, it's a good opportunity for you all and the fans, right? I mean, it's so cool to be able to be here today. You know,
it's awesome here.
We have the bus. Khalil Whitney's behind us. We have this UK decked out car, like the stage, players, coaches. It's gonna be an awesome day for both teams, not just and especially on the women's side, right? Like for the women's, Zach, like this is unheard of. Like imagine you like even as like South Carolina or LSU, they ain't doing this. No. You know what I mean? They ain't doing this. But I'm gonna shut up, let you introduce yourself. We all know who you are anyway. But Zach, how the heck are you? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Yeah, glad to make my Memorial Memo debut. A lot of viewers may know I was on the women's basketball beat for about 3 years. I covered Ryan Howard's first 3 years here at Kentucky, so I was very lucky in my introduction to working for KSR. I got to watch an all-time great. But never in my wildest dreams did I actually think that UK would invite all of us out here to just sit here and talk basketball for a couple hours before Big Blue Madness. We've got our friends Rups No Good over there, Dylan Ballard as well, a few other different UK podcasts up and down here. But just the atmosphere in here is awesome. I mean, on my way into Rupp, I think it was before 10 o'clock. Were you good, Steven? Okay. Before 10 o'clock even, the doors didn't open until noon. The place, I mean, there was already people lined up. When I got here about 11:30-ish, something like 11:25, the line was starting to go all the way down to the new park that they've got down there. So hundreds of fans, probably 1,000 fans by the time they actually opened up the doors to get in here. So just awesome to be here. Glad for you having me on, and I'm ready to talk whatever the hell you want to talk about for however long we go until we get bored, essentially.
Right? Now, I think for our listeners, they don't know this. I wanted to kind of share this because this is a really cool backstory, but for me and you specifically, you already shared you were on this beat before me, so there's that.
I did not have a podcast, though. I wasn't brave enough to make one.
But for those of you who don't know, when I was brought on, I think technically, we're still figuring it out. Technically, I think I'm part-timer. When I was brought on,
contributor would be a
contributor.
Yeah, that's what we'll say.
I was an intern. Who was kind of the lead man in bringing on the interns at that point? Kind of still is.
Still am.
Zack Geoghegan. So for me, it's really cool because, you know, it was like roughly 2 years ago I'm brought on as an intern. All right, let's see how this goes. It's my dream to work for KSR. All of a sudden, we're here together at Rupp Arena. It's pretty awesome.
That is kind of crazy, to think back. Has it been 2 years, really?
September of 23, so yeah.
Wow, over 2 years. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I think time goes by fast. So, yeah, you've gotten a nice – well, you had your first year probably wasn't the coverage or the team you wanted to cover, but year two you stepped right into something special. So let's see what year 3 holds for you. Yeah,
for sure. It's super exciting. And shout out to Katie Hutchison, who was on this beat with me before at the time. We still love you, Katie. Still thinking about you.
Let me shout out some other. Grant Grubbs covered the SEC championship team. He was there I don't know if that was in Greenville or another, but he was there. He saw Adriana Edwards hit that game-winning shot against South Carolina, so he took it over after I did. And then when he left, he's now with On3, moved it over to Phoenix. So we've had some
Maggie Davis, who's at
Maggie Davis was before me, actually. Yeah. Ryan Howard's first year, Maggie Davis, when she was an intern at KSR, we kind of split the women's basketball beat. Like, she had the lead on it, and I kind of helped out when I could. And then when she kind of moved on to bigger and better things, I filled in and took on that position full-time. So it's been a lot of fun covering the women's basketball team over the years. Holds a special place in my heart. So I'm really excited what Kenny Brooks has got cooking up this year, and the recruiting trail's just as fun with him, too. It feels like we're in like a Cal era with him where he's just like, all right, what 5-star do you want to hand pick right now? Go get him, and he's been doing that. So I could sit here and ramble hours and hours. And
so, we're going to be here for a while. And, of course, thankfully, we have Sources to Say to kind of pick us up where we leave off. Well, you'll be on there, so you're going to keep rambling. I won't, thankfully. We're here for BBN United Fan Fest, running from noon to 4. Got the rundown of events here. Of course, gates just opened. People are in. I mean, it's already flooding in.
Already
it's an awesome scene.
You can tell.
12:30 to 1, you have Coach Pope on the main stage. That'll be good.
The stage is huge, by the way.
Yes.
Like I don't know what I was expecting. Sorry to cut you off there.
No,
I don't know what
I
was expecting coming in here. I kind of figured it would be in like different little like different rooms, but they just took the one giant convention
Yes.
hall, opened it all the way up. You've got a massive stage over there. You've got an area on the left of the stage with all the women's basketball players, where I guess that's where they do their meet and greets. On the right side, you got the men's team. Our friend Jimmy Mahan, who runs the card shop here in Lexington, he's got all like the 48 national championship. Like, he's got trophies over there, stuff like that. Memorabilia. Trubu Customs is here. He told me he's going to be like live painting Otega Owe's shoes while at FanFest. He's got a booth over there. So there's a lot of stuff going on. Like I said, all our friends doing podcast stuff. Clue Whitney was over there shooting some hoops. Plenty of food and drinks and everything. So I don't know what I was expecting coming in here, but it wasn't this. And I've been pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, pleasant surprise is a great way to put it. It's kind of like this car over here. I keep looking at it. That is awesome.
So do you win that, or what's the deal here? Did you look into that? I
don't know. It is. What is that? What kind of car? It's a sports car.
A Mustang.
Definitely a muscle sports car. Just decked out in UK. I wish you all could see it. We'll have to get Steven to take a picture of it and upload it. But I mean, it looks beautiful.
Yeah. So do you win it and do you drive it out of here, or how does that work?
That would be sweet. I don't know.
The gate. The look
at the detail.
Right there.
Look at on the wheels. The little like in the middle of the axle, you see the UK logo.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. I've just been looking at the cat that was on the back that says Go Blue. I like that.
Right.
I would love to just drive that thing out of here. Maybe Mark Pope will afterwards.
That would be. He just whips it on the floor.
Oh, actually, I think that's for Tyron Stokes. He's going to drive it onto the middle of the floor right before the men's team goes on. Maybe have a special announcement.
Just running through the rest of the events here. 115 to 145. Kenny Brooks will be on the stage with Tubby Smith, by the way. We were in that last night. Really earlier in the summer, they kind of met and like did a thing. It wasn't a public thing, but they like met privately or whatever. Basketball team tweeted it, but now they'll be on the stage together for what UK is calling a conversation. That should be interesting. 145, the women's basketball team will be on the main stage.
Okay.
2 to 245. The women's basketball team will do their autographs over here, like Zach was saying. 245. The men's basketball team will be on the main stage, and from 3 to 4, men's basketball does their autographs, and of course Madness at 6 on SEC Network Plus.
Man,
Zach, long day, but it's an exciting day.
I was about to say it's going to be a long day, but I feel it's going to go very, very quickly.
Yeah, we've already had some people come by. Like, it's always funny. By the way, anyone that's here, like, and if you're coming, feel free to like stop by and say hi. I've seen people do the awkward, like, I'm going to take a photo. I know who they are. But
I really want some KS Borders to stop by and introduce themselves.
Who was it? Jay Breezy on the board the other day. I was like, I'm going to come see you.
Yeah, like I got to meet Connor R. You know,
Connor R.
There's just guys that I've seen on KS Sport for so long that I really want to come up and introduce themselves, even if it's during the middle of the podcast. Seriously, come up and or just like kind of make yourself known. You something on
or
the
even
side.
bomb the podcast like he just did.
Yeah, bomb the podcast if you want to. We'll ask you a question or two. You can give us your take on the team, stuff like that. So we got to fill some time here. So we're gonna talk, and I'm ready to do it.
Of course, we're leading into Big Blue Madness, Zach. I want to talk about Madness a little bit because last year's Madness was so special because it was really like the unofficial start of this new era of Kentucky women's basketball, specifically Kenny Brooks' introduction. People forget. Like, I feel like because it gets lost in the Rick Pitino and whatnot, which I guess I get that because Rick was awesome. But like Kenny's
there was a lot going on last year's BBM.
Like, how does that entrance compare to like Matthew Mitchell dancing, Kyra Elsie coming out on a damn motorcycle?
Yeah.
Like, how does it compare? Like, how did that compare to the iconic entrances we've seen in the past?
Do you remember Kyra Elsie also rappelled down from the ceilings of Rep Arena 1?
I do not remember
that. Might have been like a year before you came on. Yeah, she did that too. So she always had some weird stuff up her sleeve, to her credit. It was, and I remember listening to your episode with Kenny earlier this week. He talked about how they kind of just planned it in like 30 minutes, just said, you know what, let's go find the swag that we need to wear. And we got a nice denim jersey walking by right now.
That is sweet.
You care about telling people this? Remember that memorial? Tell people to come by?
Yeah, tell them to come by. Please.
Yeah, do it. There we go.
This is a very informal thing.
Yeah, please have everyone come by. Everyone listen for sure.
What was I saying? The introduction. So Kenny's thing was kind of a spur of the moment thing. It was very badass. I don't know if that's something that you can replicate, though, because it probably gets stale pretty quick.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what he's going to do this year. But, you know, he is just kind of such a cool dude that he probably could do that again and pull it off. Or maybe, like, add a little twist to it, you know, just, like, maybe walk in with Georgia Amore or something like that, you know, really play into last year in the first season. So we'll see what he has up his sleeve. But the Matthew Mitchell dances were a lot of fun. I remember I didn't go to too many Big Blue Madnesses actually growing up. I think I maybe only went to like one or two before I started working with KSR. But I do remember one of him doing he was like dressed in a blue suit and had like a black hat on and sunglasses. I forget exactly what the bit was, but that was a lot of fun. So we'll see what Kenny's got up his sleeve this year. I'm sure it'll be cool. It'll probably be very like mellow, calm, because that's kind of his demeanor, but it'll be cool at the same time, you know?
I think something that also gets lost, which I don't even think it was like the coolest thing in the world. I just remember from last year. Remember whenever Georgia Amore was introduced, of course the arena exploded. But she walks in, she does like the fake stumble into the stanky leg.
Oh my
Jack
goodness.
Pilgrim bombing
Got our first
the Memorial Memo
podcast
already.
bomber here.
There we go. Mr. Jack Pilgrim, of course, sources
say coming up
going to follow up right after this.
Yeah, two-ish, something.
Yeah, well, we don't have hard out times. We're going to figure that out. Well, I guess the only true hard out we have is 4 when we have to get out of here to get ready for Madness.
Yeah.
But, Zach, women's basketball big blue madness moments. Because we hear a lot about it on the men's side, like Rick and all these moments for the men. But, like, women's basketball moments, I feel like they're kind of far in between. So, like, what are the best women's basketball moments that you can think of in Madness?
Ooh, put me on the spot for that one. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't really have, like, a major... I mean, the Kenny Brooks one was awesome last year, but that's kind of still fresh in our minds. Like I mentioned, the Matthew Mitchell dances were a lot of fun.
The first Matthew Mitchell dance, they talked about on the radio show yesterday. The first Matthew Mitchell dance was, like, big. Because
it was news like, oh, my gosh, the coach is out here just being ridiculous on purpose. But as we got to know Matthew Mitchell, like, that's just his personality. And not to say that it got kind of stale towards the end when he was doing it, but it's like, all right, we know he's going to dance. Like, what's the dance going to be type thing?
Right.
You know, there wasn't exactly a surprising element to it. But I do remember Kyra Elsie rappelling down from the raft. I want to say she was with the Wildcat when she did that too, but that was just very cool. I'd never seen that before. I was like, oh my God, the head coach is just, coming down from the rafters. Like, it was kind of a cool moment. No one kind of knew what was happening until you look up and all of a sudden the head coach is just kind of slowly coming down onto the middle of the floor. So that was really cool, but those are kind of just some moments. I don't really remember the motorcycle one. You mentioned that one. For some reason, that one kind of skipped my mind.
Yeah,
but I was definitely there for that one. For sure.
I wasn't there for that one. I was researching, like, old women's basketball, and then Larry Vaught wrote an article about it, and I was like, oh, Kyra's on a motorcycle.
Yeah,
but
there wasn't too much excitement with some of at least the last year of the last.
I mean,
2 years
if Kenny came out
era.
on a motorcycle, I think we'd all be pretty stoked.
That would be pretty
Kyra,
bad.
and it was like, I guess we'll see. Jack Pilgrim, popular man over here,
a celebrity over here. I think sources say it's just going to be Jack talking to fans the entire time, and I'll just kind of be on the side, and I'll probably go get my lunch then while Jack is just
go get you some Chick-fil-A or something, or we have like a Coke,
Stevens, look,
a Coke vendor behind us.
Yeah, we got some Coke vendors. Maybe I'll be like, hey, can I just get I need to wet my whistle with a little Coca-Cola here soon. Sponsor us.
So do we think Kenny can top his entrance from last year because of how epic it was? We talked about Matthew Mitchell. His first entrance was his best. Do we think Kenny can top it off? And if so, how in the hell could he do that?
I won't even speculate because I have no idea what he's going to think.
Yeah.
But I think he will. I think he will one-up himself this year. I don't know how he'll do it, but it'll be, like I said, it'll be kind of a calm type thing, and it'll be more of a spectacle rather than like an actual event or performance type thing.
Of the players who are going to, because you think about, there's some personalities on this team, but kind of maybe a bit unfamiliar to the fans. Of all the players, Zach, who has the best entrance? Well, or are they even going to do the dramatic entrances that we've seen in the past?
I mean, they'll definitely do some sort of player introduction thing. They'll have their own song that they'll pick out. Immediately you start thinking of some of the returners because you got some familiarity. Like Tioni Key has kind of established herself as maybe the face of the team, of this year's team. Like, she's maybe not the best player. Like, that title probably goes to Clara Strack, but I'd say she's probably 1B or number 2 right there on that list. And she definitely has kind of a bigger personality than Clara as well. So I can see her kind of coming out and wanting to maybe show a little flair. I don't know what that would be. They just kind of, as the years go along, especially with social media, it feels like a lot of the college kids, they're a little less likely to try and embarrass themselves on these type of platforms, which is understandable, But like maybe someone like Josie Gilvin, like a Kentucky girl type thing, like coming from Western Kentucky, like maybe something that she's dreamed about all her life. Maybe she'll get a little bit into it as well. And just from listening to her interviews, it seems like she's kind of got a person that could buy into that as well. So. Yeah, I would look at some of the returners. Those are the girls that fans will already know as well, so there'll be bigger pops for them. And maybe Toni Morgan. You establish yourself. You're going to be the floor general of the team here. Let's start it off early. Let's do something crazy. I don't know what crazy would be you can't really replicate the John Wall dance. That's kind of a one-time thing, but I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, for sure. It's one of those things. Like, I mean, Claire Strack's going to get a pop. Like, everyone knows her.
She's a little quiet.
Key'll get a pop. She's quiet. I like to think, Lexi Blue is really big on TikTok. If I try to think, who on TikTok likes to dance, right?
That's where we miss Sanaya Tyler.
Dude,
You know?
Sanaya would have been perfect for this.
Yeah.
I hope she kills it in Missouri, but I feel like it's a really good fit for her. Not only is she back in her home state, still in the SEC, she's played for Kelly Harper, who coached at Tennessee, so that'll be interesting. But Zach, you think about women's basketball and this whole event, all this grandeur, everything that's being put on, no one is doing this like Kentucky, right? That's not even close. Like Kenny on my podcast, and he said it before, he's not here unless something like this is happening, unless it's very clear UK is at the forefront of making women's basketball, a big part of the future. You have, I like, the renovation, the memorial, this event, Kenny being paid what he's being paid, top 10. Like, Zach,
doesn't feel like they're hurting on revenue sharing either if you're looking at the recruiting rankings recently.
Well, and we'll get to that in a minute. We'll get to recruiting in a second. But, Zach, it's so awesome to be here. Like 10 years ago, the idea of this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And especially when you have a women's basketball-centric podcast doing it too, right? We're going to give ourselves flowers here. Like, having a women's basketball podcast here doing it all, having, this whole thing, this is very unique to Kentucky, and there's, UConn, South Carolina, they can't even say they've got this.
Yeah, we had to talk about how you got your sweatshirts later on.
Oh my gosh,
it just reminded me, when I looked at your sweatshirt.
Yes.
We'll have to talk about how you got those in a second. But, yeah, to your point, I mean, I was kind of skeptical on them moving it from Friday to Saturday because it kind of had always been on Friday. That was just kind of a familiarity thing. You knew the schedule, all that. But the nice thing about it is, take a picture. Yeah,
take all the pictures you want.
But the
get my good side.
The nice thing about moving it to Saturday is you get to do stuff like this and really kind of embrace the whole, you're going to have the meet and greets with all the women's players. You get to hear Kenny Brooks talk to Tubby Smith. That is just a little bit of an added exposure element that like you said, you're not going to get at a lot of places. There's going to be, I think the UK said their capacity for this is 3,500 people. I wouldn't be shocked if they're sending people away, once we start hitting 11 or 1 or 2 o'clock, stuff like that. So, I mean, I'd argue there's over 1,000 people already in here right now. So we'll see if we get to the capacity. But that's just kind of my point. There's a lot of people in here, and a lot of them are here to go see the women's team. They want to see what, how does Kenny Brooks replace Georgia Moore? What's the vibe of this new team? You got a lot of new transfers. There was 2 players on the team last year that no one even got to see play in Jordan Obi and Prova. So you're just elevating yourself to a little bit of a different level compared to some of these other programs where you're just getting more exposure. And this is a whole day dedicated to just these men and women on this team. So it's really cool. And I'm all in on the Saturday thing now. Like I said, it's from 4 hours from 12 to noon. And the main thing is you just give all these fans a easier opportunity to come and attend. Because it's just, it's hard to go, as much as I loved the petting zoo on Fridays last year, for Big Blue Man, it's getting to a petting zoo at 5 o'clock on a Friday when you've got, what's up, Kai? It's difficult. So this makes it a lot easier, and all of that just adds to how many eyes you can get on the player and the team and the coaches and all that.
It's one of those things where, how many other women's basketball programs get a Midnight Madness? I'm sure there's a decent amount that maybe
mixed in with the men's too,
But it's nothing to this grandeur. It's nothing to, I was talking to someone from UK yesterday about this event, and because I was talking about how are you going to make sure this place isn't a zoo in terms of, keeping it flowing, keeping it there, we don't know. And I think that's also kind of awesome in the sense, man, people are so excited for basketball, and Kentucky women's basketball too, right? Of course, Coach Pope will be on the stage in 7 minutes, roughly. But it's just so exciting to have everybody here. Back to Madness, I remember, of course. Where's Drew? That's a great question.
That is a good question. I'm not entirely sure, but he'll be floating around here eventually, I imagine. So, yeah, let's hope so.
There we go. So we have people. We have some radio show fans, of course, here. Wondering where is Drew? Probably where is Matt? God knows. We'll figure that all later.
They're floating around here somewhere. They'll be around.
And then, I think about Deja and Amelia. Last year at Madness, of course, you're not really taking away on the court stuff really from Madness, but they shot the bell really well last year. I remember that. I wonder what they do as far as as far as that goes, because they had the hot spot. Where you shot from, the 3-point contest. Sadly, we did not get a dunk contest, believe it or not, for women's basketball. But I wonder what kind of things they pull out for that tonight too.
I think you're gonna lean into the 3-point shooting, especially because it feels like you probably got a maybe a little bit of a deeper crew of shooters on this year's roster, so you can really lean into the three-point shooting contest. So yeah, that'll definitely be incorporated. Maybe did they do a skills? I feel like they did a skills competition type thing last year.
I think it was something along. Maybe it was just for the men. I don't know, but I feel like they did something along those lines.
Yeah, or maybe like do like a minute, like a pair, like a minute, like a male player with a female player. There's our friend Chris Beesmore walking by. Pair them for like a skills contest thing or something. But I will say the challenge of Big Blue Madness is finding ways to keep the actual product entertaining throughout, because it can kind of hit lulls when the private-on-private practices kind of turns into just like a layup line essentially. So we'll see how they can kind of juice things up. So we keep hearing last year they teased that everything was going to be new and exciting and all that, and for the most part it was, but the actual on-court product was kind of still the same. So I don't know what they're going to do. Like, I think I've read some Twitter stuff that the LED floor is coming back as well. So maybe try and find a bit with that you can really lean into a little bit more. I don't know how they do all that, but that's kind of the excitement of all this, is we don't really know what they're going to do. So it's going to be all of us learning in real time, and it should be fun.
Zach, if you notice, some of the people from this area have kind of disappeared, because you look to our left, Coach Pope is taking a selfie with a horde of literally, like, what do you say? It's 500 people around him, maybe? Like,
I'm gonna take myself a little picture over here.
Zach's going to go get a photo with them. I mean, we got Coach Pope just around. Being surrounded like
it's Mark Pope too, because his head kind of shines above everyone else. He is the tallest one, shiny, bald head. Mark Pope, of course, very hard to miss. Like I said, he'll be on the stage here in about 4 minutes. Think about women's basketball facilities, too. Well, first of all, Memorial itself, right? The Memorial Memo, right? Shout out.
Is other than North Carolina, who has Carmichael Arena, which what I've heard, I haven't been there, but what I've heard, it's kind of like the old Memorial in terms it's kind of crappy.
Gotcha.
But NC State, they have Reynolds Coliseum, women's basketball only arena.
Like, I think,
there. Yes,
I think there.
It's actually Kenny loves that place. He's praised it a lot.
Okay.
Between us three, us, North Carolina, NC State, I think we're the only three venues or only three programs that have their own women's basketball arena.
Okay.
Which, of course, South Carolina, they fill up.
Right.
They fill up Colonial Life. Tennessee fills up their arena. LSU, depends what game. but like...
Depends on how well the football team's doing.
That's another part of UK being at the forefront. The UK healthcare men's basketball facility thing that's in the works, kind of, that they're talking about.
Yeah.
I think from what I've talked to, from what I've heard, the women, I guess, kind of, if they want, can be in there, but I think what it sounds like is they're going to kind of stick to the Joe Kraft Center. And basically, I think the Joe Kraft Center attached to Memorial is going to become like a women's basketball or women's sports, because you have volleyball and gymnastics as well. Like a women's sports complex almost. And that's like a first kind of thing in women, and not even just in, like, no one's doing that.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, it's exciting to think about UK being at the forefront of all this stuff. Zach, it's exciting, right?
Well, and I think that's how you get Kenny Brooks.
Yeah.
You don't land Kenny Brooks as a head coach and pay him all that money with him not knowing like what kind of lies ahead in the future and the investment level and all that. So it's very clear that Mitch Barnhart has put some emphasis on the women's basketball program here, deservedly so, because there's no reason that Kentucky women's basketball should ever be bad. Essentially, there's just no reason. They have the facilities, they have the money, they have the fan investment, they have all of that. It's just a matter of actually putting the product on the floor, and you just need a really good head coach that you can convince all those things are going to continue along. So to UK's credit and the athletic department's credit, they have done a great job of kind of laying that plan out for Kenny Brooks, and to someone like Craig Skinner too. Like, you don't want to lose Craig Skinner, I'll tell you that, because he could easily go to a bigger program. There's only a handful at this point, but you don't want to lose him either. So you gotta continue to advance and make sure that you can keep what you have in house, keep them happy.
I feel like it got kind of lost in all the news of this week. Again, this BBN United Fan Fest kind of coming about out of nowhere, it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
But
it really did.
Yeah,
I think it was like Monday or Tuesday when we found out about it.
And then again, it was like less than 48 hours ago.
That, like, hey, y'all want to do some podcasts there?
And we're like, sure.
Absolutely.
Why not? Coach Pope,
that's not too loud.
Is a loudmouth.
Yeah.
We're going to try to talk over him a little bit here.
Hey, Steven, can you check the audio with see if that's too bad? They're pretty good.
Okay. So we are trying to compete with Coach Pope in terms of audio.
Okay, Steven says we're sounding all right.
Steven says you all can hear us well. We'll trust Steven. I want to talk about my interview with Kenny.
Yes.
Because it kind of got lost in the shuffle.
It was great, by the way.
Thank you. It got lost in the shuffle of such a busy week, but I feel like it's good to talk about it, right? What were some of your takeaways kind of from anything that Kenny really said?
Okay. Takeaways. Goodness, I feel like he talked the transition from Georgia Amore to Tony Morgan is probably going to be the biggest talking point of the season. And I kind of liked what he had to say about all that, kind of having her be her own person, not trying to replicate Georgia, kind of the cliche stuff like that. I like that it sounds like he wants everyone to shoot threes, especially, goodness gracious, he's talking loud. Mark Pope knows how to rile up a crowd, but sounds like he wants Clara Strack to shoot even more threes, Tiona Key to shoot even more threes. He said they want to be the number one defensive rebounding team in the country. I thought that was interesting because I think it's maybe not a concern, but I think one of my things to watch for this team this season will be the front court depth. Like you have the three returning trio front court players, but one of the things that they kind of struggled with last year was getting bullied by bigger post players, and I don't think they really addressed that necessarily, so I'm interested to see how that kind of all plays out, but it sounds like Kenny wants to, at least offensively, wants to space the floor even more, and maybe some of that is losing an excellent three-point shooter like Georgia. There's our friend Jimmy going by. But the defensive rebounding I definitely thought was notable because I think that's possible that they can. I don't know what they finished last year in defensive rebounding. I'm sure it was probably pretty high because they had all that height. But if they can be the best defensive rebounding team in the country, you're going to make up for a lot of not necessarily faults, but just like things that you can cover up really easily. Like maybe some poor defense. You can clean up possessions a lot easier. Not allow second chance points. Like those things matter, especially if you're playing against bigger teams. So. That would be nice if they can actually pull that one off.
I think I have a list of takeaways. I put you on the spot, but I have a prepared list because I'm unfair like that.
Yeah.
For me,
we're off the cuff here,
right? For me, I think the big thing, Kentucky really thinks they can go out and win an SEC championship.
Yeah.
Jack is a man. He's a jack of all trades. Jack of all trades, right? He has like a Sunday radio show, and Amelia Hassett was on that show, and she revealed that. 1, 2, 3 SEC champs after practice. They say that after practice. They say that and they really believe it. Zach, you look at this team. Can they go make a run to an SEC championship?
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Sure.
I think you lose a little star power with Georgia Amore, but you replace her with an All-ACC caliber guard, two-time All-ACC caliber guard, and Tony Morgan. I think your depth is better this season with Kentucky. You wrote an article about how they were ranked outside the top 25 of ESPN's. I don't think this team is going to be any worse than last year's team, which was consistently in the top 25 all season long. So I kind of disagree with them on that. But yeah, I mean, I don't see any reason why they can't go compete for an SEC championship. I mean, there are reasons, and there's two of them, and there's South Carolina and LSU. Like, those are your two reasons, because South Carolina's going to be probably one or two. LSU
Texas
will be right
has the SEC Play of the Year coming back.
Madison Booker is going to be great as well. Reagan Beers is back at Oklahoma, too. So you've got, there are teams in the way. And I think even Noah on the other podcast you did earlier this week was talking about that. You can be a top 4 team in the SEC and, still be or a top 10 team in the country and still be the 4th best team in the SEC type thing. Because that's how deep the league can be this year. So they can definitely do it, but it's going to take some upsets along the way.
Yeah, for sure. And it's one of those things where, you don't really know until the games are played, but, you think about all the returners, the transfer portal, the group that you brought in. Clara Strack was SEC Defensive Player of the Year as a sophomore, for crying out loud.
That's true.
She's back for her junior year, and then Coach Pope is going very in-depth on the offense here. Decision tree.
Whoa.
Transition offense. All right, anyway.
PG game.
This is interesting. I'm not diagnosed with ADHD or anything like that, or ADD, any of the Ds, but
you've got something.
Here. I've got something. I cannot concentrate because Coach Pope over here with his decision
he's got a slide. It literally looks like he's made he's gone on to Google or what's the
like a PowerPoint or Google Slides. Yeah,
Google Slides. It says transition offense at the top, and then it has in bold it says decision tree. And underneath there are 4 numbered items: Nash check, PA game, PG game, and flow game. I'm sure he'll go over all those right now, but we'll have to miss that. So we'll see what Kenny Brooks does when he's up there.
Right. Anyway, back to women's basketball. It sounds like they want to run a 9 to 10 play rotation. I was like, because our KS board listeners, they put in some questions for us, and someone was like, well, how deep of a rotation do you feel you can go? Zach, last year they only ran a 6-7 player rotation, right? But now they can go maybe 9 or 10 deep. Kenny was saying. What do you think about that?
I agree. I think that's that's one of the main differences of last year's team is you just have more depth, and part of it is something I mentioned earlier is you've got, and I think this is probably a very underrated aspect of this team is you've got two legitimately good players in Jordan Obi and Dominika Perova who will play. Like Jordan Obi will probably start on this team. She didn't play all last year due to injury. Same with Perova. I don't know if she'll start or not. But you've got those two coming in as well who already know the system and had a year being coached by Kenny Brooks, even if they didn't play. And then you add capable players like an Asia Boone and Josie Gilvin, and I'm sure I'm forgetting another transfer name right now, obviously Tony Morgan. But I think the depth overall is going to be excellent. I think that's going to be one of the strong points of this team because, last year you had Georgia Moore playing 38, 39, 40 minutes a game, kind of ran her into the ground because you just didn't really have any other options. We really loved Cassidy Rowe and Sanaya Tyler, but it was tough for them to really find a groove and be comfortable in SEC play. So I think that's probably not going to be as big of an issue, just because Gilvin and Asia Boone in particular have they've played well at their previous stops. That transition is still really tough from mid-major to high major, so we'll see how they handle that all. But the depth is going to be much, much better this year. You can, especially for some of the big, like Tioni Key and Clara Strack, you can maybe cut their minutes down a little bit, especially if someone like KK Carroll ends up being playable right away because she's 6'45" now at this point. She just keeps growing.
She is literally still growing.
So she's listed as a 6'3" guard, so you can put her down maybe some small ball four, stuff like that. Maybe the 6'5" freshman, maybe she can come in and play some minutes. Well, that's kind of a to be determined thing, but. Yeah, I think the depth is definitely going to be a strength of this team.
I think the big thing about that is, Zach, you're not relying on Georgia Amore to go out and give you 40 minutes a game. You're not relying on Georgia Amore. Okay, she's going to be the one to take the
40
shot.
Shots a game as well,
she's going to be with 10 seconds left in the game. It's going to be in her hands. Mm-hmm. I asked Kenny about that. He was like, it's going to be a bit by committee. Yeah. Clara Strack can do it. Asia Boone can do it. Tioni Key. Really, whoever's hot that game can do it. That's a huge benefit, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Another part is having them in the system for an entire year so they can kind of just know the intricacies of how Kenny Brooks wants to handle late game situations. And you kind of had a good, you saw how Georgia did it last year, so you can kind of replicate from there. And, I think the ball is going to be in Toni Morgan's hands a lot still. I think she's still going to be kind of the engine that drives everything. But you're just going to have more options on the outside that you can spread the love a little bit more.
One of the big things as well from the interview, of course, you think about the depth that this team has. They're lacking depth at point guard because you have Toni Morgan, and then you really don't know what else you have specifically at point guard. We've learned this offseason, Asia Boone, she played two guard a lot at Liberty, kind of taking on that role as a backup point guard at Kentucky.
Yeah.
Kenny says she fought it at first. She fought it, didn't love it. She's slowly starting to come along. Before Deja Lawrence went overseas, I was told she helped out a lot with that. So shout out to Deja. Oh, by the way, I hope she kills it over there, by the way.
She will.
It's pretty cool. You think about pros and you think about the WNBA. The year, in women's basketball, European basketball is almost just as good, if not sometimes better than the W.
Absolutely.
So shout out Deja for what she's doing. But anyway, back to the current team. Asia Boone, of course, moving to that backup point guard spot, Zach. And that's exciting for one because, thank God we have some depth. But two, it's starting to work, and we know, you can move the lineup a little bit if need be.
Well, I think that bringing up Deja Lawrence is notable because she came over from, UNC Charlotte, kind of a mid-major, and that transition didn't seem to bother her. It may have took her maybe a couple weeks to really hit her groove, but once she did, she became probably the second best scorer on the team behind Georgia. So it gives you optimism that you can kind of see similar transitions from Asia and Josie to kind of take on, the jump is not going to be too overwhelming for them. They can come and they were productive at their last stops. They were all conference caliber at their last stop, so they can come in here and kind of do the similar things that someone like a Deja Lawrence did without, having that transition from conference to conference be too overwhelming.
Looking at our comment section here on the stream.
Yeah, I just pulled that up there because I figured people were talking.
Shout out to everybody. We have 287 people watching currently, so I'd love to see that.
Awesome.
Women's basketball getting in on the action, right? Of course, Cameron Mills is a loudmouth, by the way. I mean, he is. You think Coach Pope's loud? Cameron Mills.
Just two loudmouths talking over each other.
Steven is over here doing jumpers in his sleep.
No one has a pure jumper in all of UK media than Stephen Peak.
Hey, you all will get a sneak peek at it later. Steven can tell you, I hit a shot earlier that I didn't know I was able to hit.
Oh,
it was sweet.
Prince. Okay.
Don't ask about the result of the game. We played the We're Up to No Good guys. We don't talk about the score of that game. They're staring us down. They know we're talking about them. Shout out to the We're Up to No Good guys about that. It's cool that they're here too because they're not traditional media, right?
Yeah.
I even talked to him. Zach was like, I don't want to be called media. Like, we're just fans. But it's really cool to have them here too because they do great work. Nice to have them here. But back to women's basketball real quick. Let me apologize because if I sound nasally or not totally into it, sinuses are kicking my ass right now.
It's that time of the year.
I've taken some medicine, done my work. The devil may have given me sickness, but God gave me Big Blue Madness, so I'm here for you all.
I just want to point out that I think Mark Pope was just breaking down film.
Yes, I saw
the
that.
Fans.
Missouri,
that was interesting. Yeah,
that was a good game. You were there for that.
I was there at that one. That
Missouri
was a great
road game.
Steven and Jack and I were there, yeah. The Missouri game last year, Pope was just showing film on it, breaking it down.
Yeah, Coach, I mean, we're getting full film breakdowns. Look at the actions on the screen. Like, the actions on, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Kaylin Carroll, you mentioned her a second ago. Kenny had a great quote about her because it sounds like he's doing Zoom action.
He's stealing our content from me.
Yeah. Kaylin Carroll, comes in as a freshman. It's like Lexi Blue last year didn't get a ton of PT. And I asked, so what do your freshmen have to do? And it's just you have to be willing to learn, willing to work, all those different things. But he gave me a pretty good quote regarding Kaylin. He's like, when you come to the sideline, don't look for your water bottle. Look for Tiani King and Claire Streck and watch what they're doing. I was like, you know what? First of all, that's great. That's a great soundbite for an article one day.
Yeah.
So that's coming. But
and something that's true as well.
It's pretty clear, and I asked about this too. Kaylin, because she's grown, are you going to put her more in the post more, out on the perimeter? And he's like, that's still a work in progress, but, her defense is something that's been coming along. But, Zach, Kaylin Carroll, we'll see when we get to SEC play, but at least early, she's going to be able to contribute.
Yeah, I think you definitely will probably try and keep her on the perimeter just because she's grown up as a guard. So even if she's still kind of growing and getting, adding some inches to her height, she's still a guard-oriented player, so you kind of want to keep her there in that spot. But, to kind of go back to last year, talking about freshmen, like Lexi Blue, kind of a highly rated recruit as well, but I think the game was just a little bit too much for her. She never really was able to hit her stride. She just never really looked comfortable. So, and you could tell kind of early on that was going to be the case. So I think you'll be able to tell pretty early on if that's the same case with KK Carroll as well. But she's a different player than Lexi, much taller, stronger, more physical. So we'll see. I think the transition will be a little bit easier for her just from that perspective. And I think Coach Brooks won't really need to use her. He kind of had to use Lexi Blue last year. You kind of had to throw her in the fire when she maybe was ready for it. I don't think that'll necessarily be the case this year. I think you can kind of ease KK Carroll in a little bit. And I want to talk about Lexi Blue more as well. Her sophomore year is going to be very important for her, I think.
Yes.
I think you'll be able to ease Carroll in a little bit more and not make life too difficult for her early on and putting the ball in her hands too much. So I think it should be a little bit of an easier transition for her compared to someone like Lexi Blue from last year. I don't know if that means she's going to step in and, score 10 points a game or anything, but if she takes on a 10, 15-minute per game role and can, be productive, then that would be a win.
And speaking of Lexi, we talked to her, the staff, people around the program. She sounds and looks so much more confident heading into year 2. It's unbelievable. She's someone the staff is really proud of as far as how far she's come along this offseason. I think she can really take that next step this year too.
Yeah, I think she's going to have to because, like we talked about with the depth, it's going to make it more difficult for her to get on the floor this year, I think. Like I said, it didn't all come together for her last year. It felt like, I don't know if I don't think she lacked any confidence. I just don't think she was too comfortable when she was actually out there. And that just it impacted her play. You could tell she just wasn't comfortable dribbling the ball or taking shots. Maybe the confidence did get hit a little bit as the season went along. So you spend all offseason building her back up, and we know that she's like, she was a top 30-something player in high school, like good shooter. She's got height. I think she's 5'11", 6 foot, perimeter player. So you just want to be able to see her put the ball on the floor more confidently. Because, if she really doesn't have, if she doesn't kind of solidify herself as a rotational player this year or early on in the season, it just could be tough for her to get on the floor. And that says more about Kentucky's depth than it does about Lexi Blue as a player. Because Lexi Blue can be, she can be the 8th best player on the team, and that only equates to 10 minutes a game, And, being the 8th best player on this year's team is going to still be a very good basketball player.
Something else that I thought was interesting, you think about this modern day and age with the NIL, rev share, specifically the transfer portal. We see a lot of teams, they'll go get basically their whole rosters from the transfer portal at times.
Yeah.
Kenny doesn't really want that to really be the case. He wants to go get maybe some complimentary pieces from the portal, but I asked him, and he's like, Phoenix, I want high school recruiting to still be our foundation. We still believe in the whole recruit and develop thing.
Yeah.
Kind of like, sound like UK football, recruit and develop. But, they believe in path of bringing in high school players. And as Kenny said it, watching that light bulb kind of hit, like when I saw Clara Strack, right? High school recruiting is going to be a very big part here at Kentucky.
You want me to sign that? I should be signing basketball.
Zach, come on, give it your autograph.
I'm not.
Both of us, man. This is actually, let me say, just as a thing, I have taken pictures with fans. This is my first autograph, so we're going to figure out how to sign here.
Yeah.
All right, Zach.
I'm a little. I'm not very.
Yeah, I'll take it over. Zach, hold up the conversation while I sign this ball.
So we're talking about recruiting?
Yes.
I'm interested to see your signature. Mine stinks. Mine's really bad. Mine's down here. Zack Geoghegan. Mine's not very good. He does have a lot of names on here, though, I will say. That ball's going to be filled here soon. Oh, look at that. Go Cats. Love it. So recruiting. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. What's your name? Jim?
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. You're humbling me. I appreciate it. Gotcha.
Thank you, sir. Recruiting.
Yes, recruiting. I do remember that part from Kenny Brooks' interview with you where he emphasized, we want to go through the high school ranks first and foremost. It's easy to say that, though, when you have, at the time he only had 2 5-stars. Now he's got a 5-star and a highly rated 4-star.
Yes.
So the recruiting's going great, and when you're bringing, I think he's being very particular, very specific about the players he's recruiting, players that fit his system. Guard-oriented players, that's kind of who he's got right now in the recruiting class. So I think the high school recruiting is huge. I think it's going to be harder to pull real stars to Kentucky from the portal as opposed to, maybe that'll change over the years as the program continues to grow and things like that. But on the men's side, you're going to eat first in terms of the portal.
Yes. Whereas
South Carolina and LSU and the other teams, they're going to eat first in the portal on the women's side. So maybe a little bit difficult to go out and land you're the superstar player that you want. And Kenny has shown the ability to build them up in-house and do it himself. Elizabeth Kitley and Georgia Moore, no 2 better examples than those 2. I think even Kenny said that they weren't was Georgia Moore even a high school recruit at the time? She was playing overseas, so she probably very light mentions.
When Georgia Moore committed to Virginia Tech, her 2 offers were Virginia Tech and Portland, where her cousin played.
Yeah. So exactly. So he's shown the ability to develop players year over year, and that's probably why high school is a lot more important to him. From what he was talking about, it sounded like he wasn't he doesn't sound like he's a huge fan of the transfer portal process, only because it's a 2-week process.
He calls it speed dating.
Yes, where with high school, you can start talking to the kids when they're freshmen in high school, and building relationships.
Which, by the way, they do a lot of. It hurts my soul when I'm looking at Twitter or something, and it's 29. I saw a 2031 the other day. Not a UK offer, but just a recruit. What are we doing?
2030 is.
I just graduated high school, and we're already talking about 2031. What are we doing?
Yeah. So, but that's what you have to do nowadays, you want to establish that early, and then, when it comes to the end of the closing table, you've got the NIL money to make it all happen. So far, Kenny's shown that he has that. He's got those skills, and he can elevate the product all in-house and develop over time. So, he's killing on the recruiting trail, so you can't really argue with his thought process there. Lexi Blue his first year, KK Carroll this past year. Now he's got 2 5-stars coming in. Madden Greenway and Savvy Swords, excellent basketball name, by the way. But those two are going to be McDonald's All-Americans.
Yes.
2 of them. I think Ryan maybe was an All-American. No. Treasure Hunt was an All-American. McDonald's All-American.
Like, we think of Ryan as being like one of the GOATs here, and
Ryan was ranked like 25 in the rankings.
Yeah, she was low in the rankings. Yeah,
she was not like a. I think she was a 5-star. Cause I think their 5-stars extended that far, but like she was not a top 10 recruit or anything.
Right.
Like that was a credit to Matthew Mitchell for finding her and landing that, and Kyra Elsie too had to play a big part in landing her. But I think Treasure Hunt is the last McDonald's All-American they've had. I couldn't tell you where Treasure Hunt is. She might still be at Arizona State. She might be playing
Treasure Hunt, last I saw, she was an assistant at like Middle Tennessee.
There you go. So,
and I don't even know if she's there anymore. So
so the ability to bring in talent is different than it's ever been here.
And I do want to point this out because Kenny can't go out on the recruiting trail and do what he's doing without the support of Mitch Barnhart and the UK admin.
Mm-hmm.
We've already talked about UK being at the forefront. I've said that word probably 10 times since we've been on here. But think about the rev share in NIL, how it's constantly changing. UK doing a good job of that. What I've heard is, as far as NIL and numbers and whatnot, the Nike stuff helps. Shoes help, believe it or not. The reputation of the men's basketball program, that's something that really helps with women recruiting. You
Stuff
wouldn't
like this, it's all tied together.
I didn't. Yeah, stuff like this, right? I wouldn't have really thought about it. Like the men's basketball reputation helping out women's recruiting, but I'll take it. I remember Rondo helped recruit. Didn't end up coming here, but TVO at USC.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They went to some like Mexican restaurant or something.
Yeah, that was funny.
But
I remember that.
That didn't work out. But Rondo helping in recruiting. Tubby Smith is kind of with the program a little bit now. But he definitely can't be doing what he's doing without their help. Can we talk about Madden Greenway though? Because I posted this yesterday and went super viral, and I didn't expect it to. Zach, Madden Greenway holds the Minnesota girls soccer state record for most career goals with 204. 204 goals.
Goodness gracious.
She
had to have been playing in like 7th grade varsity
in
level.
3, probably.
Yeah.
And
that's an insane amount.
Because she's a junior, heading into her senior year in high school.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what the hell? And so she has state records in girls basketball, girls soccer, and track and field.
Yeah.
I was looking online. Some people are saying Madden Greenway could be the greatest Minnesota high school athlete ever.
USA basketball.
Yeah.
I mean, she's very highly accomplished, like ranked number 9 in the Rivals rankings for a reason. She might end up going higher than that by the time everything is said and done there. So we got another fan.
This guy right here. This is a student section phenom.
Can you get over here and show off your Devin Booker shirt?
This is a pretty sweet shirt.
So we're doing the women's basketball podcast, but the Devin Booker shirt is too good not to show off right now.
Speaking of Devin Booker and women,
nice to meet you.
You all remember whenever women would walk up to Devin Booker's car and lick his car? Do you remember that? People would lick Devin Booker. Did you know that?
What was that?
People go up to Devin Booker's car whenever he was here, and girls would go up and lick his car. Did you know that?
That's how crazy the BBN is.
Yeah, the line outside was insane. When we were chilling, watching the line and looking at it. This fan base shows up like no other. I'm not originally from here.
Oh yeah,
and I've never seen anything in sports like BBN. It's insane.
Where are you from?
I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Ooh.
So, yeah. And Steelers fans, and Pittsburgh fans, they love their teams, but nothing's like Kentucky.
So you've been here for how long? You been here today?
This will be my 5th year here.
Okay. So my main reason for asking, you think about whenever Cal was here, and like Kyra, because I'm doing the women's basketball podcast. Whenever Kyra was here, I've seen you at women's games too a little bit. So just talk about kind of the excitement around Kentucky basketball in general, of course, including the women, from your perspective as a student here.
If you saw last year with the Louisville game was the big one, right?
Mm.
People coming from a football game, and we know football is big here, no matter what the team's doing, and that stadium was sold out. And I think just the vibe of bringing in both Kenny Brooks and Coach Pope at the same time has just made the excitement about basketball so much greater. And from a student's perspective, it's like we're with Team Wildcat and our goal is promote this, right?
Yeah.
And the women's team loves working with us. All the sports love working with us. And it's just try to get people to come to the games, and people are showing up. And there's just an excitement that I wasn't really seeing my first few years here, where it's kind of just like, oh, it's basketball season. Yeah, we love it. But now it's like a genuine excitement, like, okay, we're going to have some good years, and we're going to have some fun with this no matter what. So
hey, there we go. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah.
There we go. Appreciate you. Yeah.
Appreciate it, man.
There we go.
I won't leave you hanging.
There we go. Sweet. So we got I didn't realize he was with Team Wildcat. That was not coordinated or planned at all. He just kind of walked up. We just saw the Devin Booker
Easy
shirt
plug.
and thought it was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
But now we're talking about recruiting. I haven't even gotten to really hit on this yet because it came suddenly. I kind of heard Kentucky and South Carolina were in the mix for Emily McDonald, who we're about to talk about. I kind of expected a commitment mid-October. Well, I guess it is mid-October. But like a little bit later, closer to the signing period. Zach, out of nowhere, Kentucky gets a commitment from 4-star guard Emily McDonald, joins Madden Greenway and her high school teammate, Savvy Swords.
Notable.
Long
Island Lutheran,
top 10
New York.
kids. She's a top 40 kid, ranked number 36. Of course, if you go by ESPN's rankings, it's a little bit sexier to say you have 3 top 25 commits, but that's a whole different thing. But Zach, out of nowhere, like, what do you make of that commitment?
Kenny works in silence.
Yeah.
Is a good, or some semi-silence.
Semi-silence, there we go.
Yeah, I mean, kind of came out of nowhere, but Emily McDonald, got us. I was kind of going through her background and everything, trying to figure out more about her when I was writing the commitment article for it. And you realize that she's got offers from, dozens of offers from pretty much every Power 4 school. Took a bunch of different visits. Like, I think she did, maybe a TCU visit. Kind of a competitor team right now. They got Maddie Schur and Clara Silva over there.
Yes, yeah.
Took a few different visits as well to some Power 4 conferences. Got a South Carolina offer 5-6 weeks ago. So South Carolina kind of came in and was tried to, put their foot down at the last minute, kind of pull a Calipari and say, we're going to come in and just take this player from you. Didn't end up happening. They didn't get her on campus. Emily McDonald, she took an unofficial in the spring, was on her official to UK back in September, I think it was. But just a very talented 6-foot guard who can shoot the ball well. So you're kind of sensing a theme. It feels like at least in this recruiting class, you're getting a theme of guard-oriented players, backcourt-oriented players who are just kind of skilled in general and can shoot the ball. So he's got a roadmap of what he's looking for, and getting Emily McDonald is just a nice little surprise for us right there.
Well, listen, I didn't want to interrupt him making a point. I was telling Steven to zoom us back in a little bit from where we had Mr. Team Wildcat back here behind us. There we go. It's a little bit better. You think about the recruiting aspect of it. You think about Emily McDonald. You talk about all those schools that were targeting her. She was one of the biggest risers in 2026. Mm-hmm. When that class started kind of becoming a big focal point for schools, she was a fringe top 100-ish kid, kind of like where Claire Strack ended up being, and then top 75. And she has this big summer, top 50, and then she has these last big 6 months, top 40 kid. Kenny was on her early, whenever a lot of schools weren't, and that clearly paid dividends in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think having the tie with Savvy Swords being her teammate as well, that probably helped for multiple reasons in terms of already having, Savvy Swords ranked number 10 in the rankings, so you've got a 5-star on that team. After a while, when you're watching them, you're going to be well, who's this other girl over here who's maybe just as talented? So, from the perspective of Kentucky getting more eyes on Emily McDonald and Emily McDonald being able to elevate her status, playing next to Savvy Swords definitely helped, I'm sure, and she would probably admit that as well. There's going to be a connection there as well between those two. These are just kind of added small minor things that might not add up too much, but it's notable. There's going to be some chemistry between those two. They'll be able to lean on each other when they get here. Kenny's killing it on the recruiting trail. I think Kentucky already had the best class in the country before then. No one else had 2 commits ranked that highly paired. I think South Carolina has probably a number 1 commit or something like that, but not the caliber, a duo of that caliber. Now you add a third in there that's a top end 4-star, and it's no question that Kentucky currently has the best recruiting class in the country right now, which I don't think that sentence has ever been said for Kentucky women's basketball.
Right.
Even when Ryan Howard was
you would think we were talking about prime John Calipari in terms of you have 2 top 10 kids and the number 1 class in the country. But no, we're talking about Kenny Brooks and the women's team. Think about...
Do they have anything in the works, you think? Another ad?
I don't know. I've talked to some people. Olivia Vukosa did not include Kentucky in her top 5. Right. She was kind of the last really big shark they wanted to go get.
And she was a center, right?
Center
player.
Reminds me a lot of Reagan Beers. Probably shoots a little bit better than Reagan.
Okay.
Actually, I don't know. Reagan, I don't know. They're both pretty good shooters. But I think the point is, I think Kentucky's done in 26, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of any visitors for tonight for Big Blue Madness. Unlike, of course, the men's side, you have some visitors.
Yeah.
Haven't really. There'll be some unofficials, I'm sure, from 12 2040,
Right.
here, but, nothing like immediate. That creates a super solid foundation, though. Like, those 3 girls, and then Lexi Blue, Kaylin Carroll, like, Zach, that, in this era of transfer portal and, oh gosh, we need to go get seniors, you have a solid group of 4 to 5 players that can carry you for the next 3 to 4 years.
Well, I'm sure, Kenny Brooks is definitely glad to have Tony Morgan here, as his Georgia Moore replacement. But obviously what he wants to do is he wants to find the next Georgia Moore. He wants to start them and develop them, like we've said, develop them in-house over years and not have to rely on going to the portal all the time and doing everything like that, kind of doing it organically. Because the portals can be risky, you kind of know what you're getting, but it's a quick process. So with this, you can be more specific with it. You can think it over more. You can figure out how all the pieces fit together. The foundation is great because now, once Tony Morgan does graduate this coming season, you don't necessarily. The idea is you don't have to go back into the portal and go get another starting point guard. You can elevate some. Do you play? Is he confident playing a freshman at point guard and Madden Greenway being the starting point guard next year? I don't know. We'll be able to tell pretty quickly depending on who he gets in the portal or if he decides to or not. Look at that. Look at that.
I'm trying to make sure our memorial memo's in view. We're good. Continue.
Yes. But the foundation, to your point, is, that's what he's doing, is he doesn't want to have to go into the portal year after year to find replacement pieces in the starting lineup. He wants to be able to just elevate players off the bench. So he's up to a great start in that regard.
Just Emily as a player, she's 6 foot tall. She's another tall, lengthy guard. And, Madden is tiny, but I think that's kind of just she has some Georgia Moore tendencies. And
I think she's 5'6", he's listed at.
She's 5'8". So she's taller than Georgia, but still small compared to the rest of the backcourt.
Yeah.
But, do you think that 6 foot to 6'2" guard, because you think about Kaylin Carroll and Lexi Blue too, is that the ideal Kenny Brooks recruit, you think?
I would say, just looking at it, yeah.
Good shooter, can defend
Carroll,
multiple positions.
With Blue, McDonald, and then Savvy Swords, I think it's listed 6'1", 6'2". I think, if you can just get perimeter players that are skilled and, can handle the ball, pass, dribble, shoot type thing, you're going to cover a lot of your bases just off that alone. I think the front court, kind of how he handles that in the future will be interesting because you're going to lose Tiani Key, after this season. I guess Clara Strack could go to the WNBA after this season.
I think she's so young. I don't think she can.
Yeah, because I think you have to be 21.
I think she has to go through her senior year.
Yeah, you have to be 21 the year of the draft.
I think it's 22.
22 now?
I think so. I could be wrong. I think it's 22.
So either way, maybe that's why he's not going in the front court, because he knows that he's going to have Clara Strack coming back. Amelia Hassett still has eligibility left as well, and just kind of grow it up from there. Maybe find someone to replace Tiani Key, but I don't know what your initial question is. I've just been talking there. But.
No, sure, yeah. Well, that's something I also talked to Kenny about, the Planet Center. And again, he wants to use high school recruiting as that base. But center, and he's not wrong about this, there aren't a ton of great ones out there. And the ones that are great,
well, there's just not many 6'5" girls out there that are,
sure.
It's just a little less common. It's not that common to find a 7-foot guy on the men's side.
Well, and it's also, there aren't as many 6'5" girls that are Clara Strack that can step out on the perimeter and shoot.
Exactly.
You get your 6'5" girl, they're most likely like Oldacre from Texas, who are just big bodies on the block.
Yeah, or someone like Clara Silva, who is talented but very, very raw.
Yes, yeah. Kentucky has now taken away 2 recruits from South Carolina and the Iowa legacy child, Madden Greenway. I heard...
Yeah, that is kind of the crazy part, actually, of that whole thing, is how Madden Greenway's dad was he just like a star? I don't know if he was a star.
He was a star linebacker at Iowa, then played 10 years in the NFL for the Minnesota Vikings.
And then Iowa's coming off the whole Caitlin Clark thing. They still got some juice there. So it is, that's a bigger win than we probably are making it out to be. To be able to steal that, that's an Iowa legacy that you're stealing from a program that is coming off a national championship appearance, essentially. So that was, that's a big snag for them.
And you think about Savvy Swords, her sister Sila plays at Michigan. Michigan was one of their finalists.
So we have a Savvy Swords and a Sila Swords?
Yeah, Sila She was one of the best freshmen in the country last year at Michigan.
Good on their parents. Those are some quality names.
Dude, the Sword's last name is going to be Savvy Swords. That is one of the all-time names.
I mean, we got Lexi Blue here, appropriate for Kentucky. Like, we got some all-time name players.
We do
on this team.
But my point in saying that is, first of all, Dawn Staley, congratulations. You've been lockered twice by Kenny Brooks. How does it feel? I've heard she doesn't like that.
I'm not going to poke the Dawn Staley bear. I'll let you do that.
I will. Hi, nice to meet you, Dawn. Actually, I talked to Dawn twice. She's actually super sweet.
She seems awesome.
Actually, funny story about Dawn, because we're going off the cuff, right? At the SEC tournament last year, everyone's coming up to Dawn wanting to meet her. She's trying to scout their opponent. I watched her devour a whole family-sized bag of goldfish at a game, like on the sideline. I don't know if that's like
munching away.
I don't know if that's like the secret to like what Dawn Staley does, but
goldfish.
She ate a whole family-sized bag, opened it, and ate the whole damn bag.
Who among us hasn't done that throughout our lives? Goldfish
is goldfish really the choice?
Maybe not goldfish, but I've
done it with
goldfish. Was a very peak childhood snack for me. Like, I could put away some of those unfoldable bags that they had.
Yeah, I love Pop-Tarts, right? For our people out there, I recently turned 21. You probably know where this is going. I got little too
Pop-Tart, alcoholic beverage. Oh, okay.
I got a little too excited about drinking. Had some drinks, and I think I ate a whole box of Pop-Tarts. What
flavor?
Oh, brown sugar cinnamon.
Okay, I think that's probably the only one that you could do in bulk. I feel like if you're having a whole box of the chocolate ones, that's probably too much.
Oh yeah.
Brown sugar strawberry's not good enough to do that. But brown sugar
I think the strawberry
is good.
flavor sucks.
It's the brown sugar's the goat.
For sure.
No doubt about that. Was it a 4-pack box or like the double wide box?
No. It was the big box. It was the big box.
Okay.
There's like 16 of them in there. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I don't recommend doing that. The next morning was an interesting morning, but regardless, Kentucky with 2 top 10 commits, 3 top 40 commits. Is that the best UK recruiting class ever for the women's side? You've been around here a little bit longer than me.
Has to be. I mean, I know Matthew Mitchell had some quality classes throughout his years, and I couldn't tell you what they were doing before then, to be honest. And Matthew Mitchell brought in a lot of high-quality players, but he never had, like we were saying, like Ryan Howard was ranked, I think ESPN had her in the mid-20s.
She was in the 30s.
30s? Yeah. Like, I would believe that. So, like, Treasure Hunt was legitimately the highest-ranked recruit, I think, that Matthew Mitchell ever had. She was, like, maybe top 15, something like that.
Really, you remember Lene Harper?
Yes.
She was a top 5 recruit.
Okay.
That's like the highest one I've seen, and that was in 2013.
Okay.
I don't even really know that name. Like, was she good here? I don't even like.
Yeah, I think she played. I think she had a stint in the WNBA.
Okay,
I believe she did.
So, like other than her, like that's like as high as I've seen. Like Kaylin Carroll, when she committed, was Kentucky's highest ranked commit at that time, and of course Madden and Savvy are both top 10 kids, so they've kind of passed that up too.
Yeah.
Like, it's so crazy. But like when I started this beat, Kentucky. They call the number 1 recruit in the country. They pick up their phone. Does that say Kentucky on it? And that's it.
Yeah.
Like, Kentucky, you kidding me? You're calling me? And now all of a sudden they're getting in the door for those kids. It's truly amazing the turnaround Kenny's done in, a year or two here.
Yeah, and I think, Kenny obviously deserves a lot of credit for that, but I think the NIL has absolutely helped Kentucky in that realm. Like, there's clearly a solid amount of investment going on into that program and how much they can afford to pay the best players in the country. Like, it would probably, if it wasn't the NIL era, it would shock me to think that Kentucky could be able to land all those, just because they don't. While Kenny Brooks has a great reputation, the program as itself doesn't have, outside of the Valerie Still years 40 years ago, and then Matthew Mitchell's 5, 6, 7 year run in like the mid 2000s, 2010s where they were going to Elite Eights. Like, the program doesn't have like all that much historical juice to it. So you can't really lean on that, and so you have to help with other factors. And obviously Kenny Brooks is the forefront of that, but having some investment from everyone involved is definitely a huge factor in that.
So you have the investment, and you have the Kentucky men's basketball reputation.
Memorial Coliseum getting redone was huge too.
Right. Yes. I mean, Kenny flat out has said he's
they did not have
here.
air conditioning in the building.
Yeah.
Until 2 years ago, a year and a half. Whenever
I have talked to some SEC coaches, kind of off the cuff, right, or off the record. Memorial, one of them straight up told me, Phoenix, this is the shittiest venue I've ever been in my life for a college venue.
I mean, I don't know if I would say that because I've been in some bad ones, but it needed it in the worst way possible. It did.
And it's so nice to see, like, again, the investment. And then Kenny's reputation also, like, again, we talked about it. Georgia Amore had, like, 2 offers, one from Virginia Tech, the other being where her cousin played. And then she ends up being a top 10 WMA draft pick. Like, that's something. Like, recruiting is only going to get better here, and it's scary to kind of think, like, oh, gosh, like, how, like, scary for other programs, great for us. Like, how much, like, are we going to, like, at what point do we pull a Duke and get the 1, 2, 3 number kid in the class?
I don't know if that'll happen, but I think you're not far away from getting a top 5 kid. I mean, we're splitting hairs here. You already got 9 and 10. What's the difference between 5 and 9, you know? But there will be a class where everything hits right, and you can go get that top 3 caliber, like that immediate superstar, like maybe not a Juju Watkins type level, but similar to that, where you get an immediate impact freshman of the year caliber type player. That's coming. That will happen within the next 5 years. Absolutely, I believe that pretty firmly.
And of course, we're kind of previewing Madness, but also the season a little bit. I think about the men's side, like the exhibitions they have, the Purdue, namely Georgetown.
Yeah,
I was talking about this with somebody. Wouldn't it be cool if we had that on the women's side? Like, imagine someone you're not playing, like a UConn or a USC comes into town. I bet you could even fill up Rupp if you do that. Like, or you could definitely fill up Memorial
for sure.
Maybe fill up Rupp. It'd be close, I think. But like, imagine you do that. Like, how cool would that be?
That would be awesome.
And it's something I bring that up. I think it's something can't do it this year.
Right.
I think it's something they've thought about. So.
And that's what I was going to say. Like, I feel like that's probably something we'll see in the years coming pretty soon. Trying to do more stuff like that. Who knows who the caliber of opponent will be. Like, it is kind of interesting that they're not doing any exhibitions this year. No preseason games. They're just doing the blue white and the big blue madness. They might do like a closed door scrimmage.
I've heard that they're probably doing that. I haven't heard a name for an opponent yet, but we'll get that to you on KSR Plus. Subscribe.
Nice. Well, see, there's kind of a bad history with these closed scrimmages because that's when Blair Green tore her ACL.
Yes.
3 years ago. I want to say I feel like they were playing maybe Eastern Kentucky, and that was a closed door scrimmage, and that's when she tore her ACL. So, my brain immediately goes to bad things when I think of exhibitions at Kentucky women's basketball, just for that reason. But that'll come soon, and once you figure out how you can make money off of it, like doing it at a Memorial Coliseum and packing it, and adding a bunch of different money for that, or hell, send Kentucky up to Stores. Go play Connecticut. They're going to sell out their building.
Yes.
Especially if Kentucky's got, a top 15, 20 player or something team coming in the country. Like, you're going to have that. Like, that will be a big moment for them, and really just cool for the players as well. Like, could you imagine Kenny Brooks and taking his team into UConn? Like, that would be a game that would get on ESPN Plus. Like, they would broadcast that one, So that's coming, though. The exhibitions will be happening, and they need them, really. I think those are important. So it's interesting that they're not getting those this year, but if Kenny doesn't seem to mind it, then why should we?
It's one of those things. I've done a good job here with, like, specifically, like, the Fan Fest, but for women's basketball to keep growing, and like we have a women's basketball podcast with a men's basketball podcast, you have to. Oh my God!
Yeah, Blue Man Group.
All right. Anyway, like you have to give the women, if not the same, at least close to the same level of publicity, view, like availability to view, like for example, the women are going to go play this great tournament in Puerto Rico. And they're going to play a good Maryland team. Why in God's name is that on Flow Sports? What is Flow Sports?
A very unreliable streaming service.
I'll tell you what it is. It's what UConn plays it's what they play the Big East games on. UConn, the best program ever, plays their conference games on Flow Sports. Like, what are we doing? Like, it's little things like that, and we're getting better about it.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things, like, for the women's game to keep growing, man.
Well, to be fair, a lot of those games weren't getting broadcasted at all, and now they're on available streaming services.
Well, I'm not
like,
and I'll give it a bit of fairness
because
the Big East in women's basketball, besides Creighton, is the biggest dumpster fire I've ever seen. But still,
yeah,
it's just like for the game to keep growing, you have to invest in it. And again, it's getting better.
I totally agree.
But Zach, I mean, from the time you were on the beat to when I am now, it's leaps and bounds better. Mm-hmm. But by the time me here now to hopefully I'm still here 10 years later, it's got to be leaps and bounds better than too.
Yeah, and I mean, Kentucky does get, I think they have a couple of ESPN games this year.
Yeah.
Lemonade, what's that? Water?
Lemonade, this is the water I got from McDonald's on my way in, honey.
Nothing fancy around here.
And I was like, that kind of looks
I'll tell you what, there was a healthy mix of vendors around. This Coke guy may have something for you.
If you find the lemonade, let me know, though, because that does sound interesting. I'm already, I got to do this for another 2 hours after this. I'm already like, getting parched over here.
I got a microphone in my hands, and people think I'm like UK relations. I don't really know what that was. But
it is funny how some people just aren't don't seem to notice that it's a live show going on.
Yeah,
which I mean, I won't talk.
She was nice. We'll give that to her. But I want to kind of talk. Or go ahead. I don't want to cut you off.
I really want to know I want everyone to know about the sweatshirt situation.
Okay. Yeah. Let's get into that. I believe
Cameron Mills is saying something.
Say, Tubby Smith and Kenny Brooks are about to take the stage, so that'll be exciting. Kind of interested to hear what they have to say. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, okay, Zach wants to talk about a sweatshirt. We'll talk about the sweatshirt. I have this one, and then this color with this logo on it.
Very cool sweatshirts, by the way.
And also 2 polos, a light blue polo and a gray polo. No idea how I got them.
Just shut up on the doorstep one day.
They came in a custom ink package, so I'm assuming they were made on custom ink. Good assumption, right?
Yeah.
They showed up on my front porch. There is no proof of purchase. I've asked you, Tyler, the women's team. Like, I was like, Kenny didn't do this, did he? Our people at On 3, my mom and dad, anyone I know. I'm like, did y'all send this to me?
Maybe a KS board member. You never know.
I was like, do I have a secret admirer? Like, someone has my apartment address. Which is
a little creepy.
A little creepy, but pretty sick. So just thank you for the hoodie. Thank you. Like, you know what I mean? If you're listening,
make yourself known.
Make yourself known, but also thank you. And it's like, again, should I be kind of terrified that someone knows where I live?
Well, I think when you were telling me about it, we were trying to rack our brain. Like, you know, was it one of those Pop-Tart nights? You know, where
was it one of those nights?
Was it one of those nights where maybe you had
so like
nothing on the credit card statement,
and I didn't get like a order confirmation or delivery confirmation from anyone. So like, I don't know how that.
But we love some free stuff, and it looks great.
And yes,
too.
I looked in the junk
quality
mail.
stuff as well.
So, I want to talk about the season a little bit, kind of get in some of the good stuff as we start to kind of wrap up leading up to Sources Say. Zach, I'm putting you on the spot for a lot of these. You ready?
Yeah.
What is your starting lineup today heading into the season?
Okay. Well, I'm gonna look at the roster a little bit just to cheat, but you can go ahead and lock in 3 spots.
Okay.
Tony Morgan.
Okay.
Claire Strack.
Okay.
Joni Key.
Okay. I like
you can probably lock in Amelia Hassett.
Okay.
And then that's where it's like, all right, where do you want to go? Like, I think Jordan Obi is going to be that's going to be my inclination. That's what I'm going to think, just because she's veteran presence, was a really good player at Penn, very smart player, obviously, with the Penn experience. Like, someone you could probably trust a little bit, been in the system for a while. And then I think when you look at your other options, you've got Asia Boone, Josie Gilvin, Perova, like maybe KK Curl. Those are probably your 3 or 4
It's a D team.
Other pieces that you could slide in at that spot. But I think it just makes more sense to go with Jordan Obi, just because you have a little bit of that built-in chemistry, not necessarily chemistry, but understanding of the system. And I think Kenny will be wanting to see what she can do, because I think she would have started last year. There's a very high chance that I think Kenny's even said that she would have been penned into the starting lineup.
Right.
Prova maybe like in pencil type thing. So that's what I would guess. I would say Tony Morgan, Jordan Obi, and then the 3, what do they call them?
Triplets.
The triplets. Have those triplets, because, I mean, it's when you have 3 6'2" girls that can all, kind of all have varying skill sets. Like, that's just and it worked for them last year, so why go away from it? So run that back, and then just kind of modify the back part a little bit. Still kind of have the same sort of, not necessarily the same sort of play style, because Georgia and Deja are different than Tony Morgan and Jordan Obi, but I think you'll kind of see a similar result from that starting 5 compared to last year. And then the benefit is you're going to bring in 4 players off the bench that can all contribute.
Jordan Obi, to me, is so interesting because, she transferred in from Penn. Zach, when she was at Penn, she spent a lot of time playing at the 4 and even a little bit at the 5.
Yeah.
Because of how small they were. Like, when she was at Penn, she averaged 7 rebounds a game because she had to play on the block a little bit.
Yeah.
Like,
some clappers
got a
going
kid
by.
walking around with a clap.
The clappers,
clippity
baby.
Clackety. Okay. Anyway, that really, like, the ADHD, whatever I was talking about, that really threw it off. Like, Jordan Obi is so interesting to me because people talk about her, and I've seen, like, she's gotten a lot leaner since she was at Penn, a lot stronger. Like, people talk about her. She's an all-SEC player, potentially, and could even end up in the W. End up in the WNBA. And I'm kind of with you on the starting lineup of Tony Morgan. I've heard they're playing Jordan Obie a lot at the 2. So, Tony Morgan, Jordan Obie, Amelia Hassett back at the 3, running it back. Kind of in not like limiting her minutes, but in a reduced role. We're like, okay, we're not putting everything on you.
Yeah,
Tiani
I think
Key
she
at
was
the
asked
4.
to do a lot last year.
Yes,
She definitely was.
Yes. Tiani Key at the 4, Claire Strack at the 5. That, first of all,
Rebounding will not be an issue.
Again, rebounding should not be an issue. Is that the best front court in the SEC? Like, because South Carolina got Ocott from Mississippi State, which is a good get. Mm-hmm. But LSU doesn't have a great. I mean, they have Koval from Notre Dame, but like we'll see how that fits. Like, I think Kentucky, pretty safe to say, has the best front court in the conference.
Yeah, you would know better. I won't pretend to know the depth chart of every SEC team. You would know that better than me. There's our friend Lucas Witt going by. But I definitely think that, I mean, it's the exact same one you had last year. Everyone's going to be a little bit better.
Yes.
They might not have the best front court player in the SEC. That might go to Madison Booker or Reagan Beers. But it would probably be hard to find a better front court trio than those 3, especially because you already know the product.
Yeah.
And the product is block shots, rebound, score the ball. They do those 3 really well. So you're getting that back again.
Say one of the best shot blockers, or one of the best shot blocking teams in the country, one of the best rebounding teams in the country. Like, you can't really.
Georgia Moore's ability to get them the ball is definitely, like, that's a factor that'll have to be watched. You know, how does Tony Morgan, how does she find ways to get all of them involved? I don't think that'll be an issue for her, but because, you know, Tony Morgan's a good player. I don't know if she's number 9 pick in the WNBA draft good, like Georgia was. So, like, there's a different level of star point guard.
I'm actually going to counter you on that. I think I saw someone put her in the first round in a draft.
Well, maybe she will.
Hold on. You keep talking. I'm pulling up a WNBA.
I'll tell you right now. If Tony Morgan ends up being a first round WNBA draft pick, this Kentucky team's going to go to an Elite 8 or a Final 4. Like, that will happen. That means you've got multiple pro caliber players just in your starting lineup right there.
I was just kidding.
He was wrong. So take back everything I just said.
There we go.
But if that ends up being the case, everything I just said, I would still stand by.
It's just one of those things where this is such an exciting year. Kenny and Tubby. Oh, first, this is a really cool thing, by the way, with those 2.
Yeah.
I've heard Kenny name drop Lefty Drizel already. So Kenny's in
your
his element,
podcast too. Didn't take him long.
Who I think we both agree, Claire Strack, best player on the team this year.
Yes, but I do think Tiani Key is like right there. Like, I legitimately think Tiani. Like, I think she's awesome. I think she's a WNBA player. I think she'll get drafted, whether it's the first or second round. Like, I think she's awesome. And if she can shoot the ball a little bit better from 3, and the same with Claire too. Like, they were both kind of like took a couple a game, like maybe in the mid-20s with their shooting percentages from 3. If they can make one a game shooting over 30%, like, you've got 2 all SEC caliber players in your front court, in your starting front court right there. So I'd say you're like I think I mentioned like a 1A 1B situation. I think with those 2, and then probably you can split hairs after that. Tony Morgan is probably after that. Maybe Jordan Obie in that conversation too. So yeah, your 2 best players are your front court players, and that hasn't been the case for Kentucky women's basketball
in a while,
since before Matthew Mitchell got here.
Well, I mean, in the early days of Matthew Mitchell, you had like Audia Matthews and like some of these big girls in the paint, and then he went away from it, and I don't really get that.
Yeah, the knock on Matthew Mitchell, especially towards the end of his career, was he just couldn't get tall post players.
Yeah,
like the best player on the team was, or the tallest player on the team was always that played real minutes was always 6'2", 6'3", and he just couldn't do that.
Right.
They were always a guard oriented team. They liked to shoot and run, and it worked for. In stints, like you had the 3 Elite 8s in 4 years, or whatever it was.
Sir, I'm a big WWE fan. Love the championship belts he got there. Those are amazing.
This guy's got 2 Can you come around?
Come around.
And show the camera here for us.
He's got the chain on, too. Look at this. What's your name, sir?
My name is Barry Cochran. I'm from Salt Lake, Kentucky.
Awesome. All right, so what's the inspiration here for all this?
Everybody brings a ball or a poster or a hat. Why not bring a big championship belt? I had one of these during the football team, and they loved it. All the football players signed it, so I went and bought me another one off Fanatics to get the whole basketball team. So.
Yeah. And you clearly got real diamonds on here, too, and everything as well.
Good. I watch you guys, too.
Awesome.
I appreciate it,
love
man.
the support.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This is a BBN United.
Oh, perfect. Great sponsor there.
Elite fan. Yeah, so I'm an elite. Me and my son's down here having a good time today.
Awesome.
Well, thank you, sir, so much for coming
thanks
on.
for coming around. What was your name one more time?
My name is Barry Cochran.
Barry, nice to meet you. Appreciate it.
There we go. That is a sweet
I like the
chain
swag.
he's got on. Love the championship belts.
Well, I do like to see it. Everyone wants to sign a ball. Let's sign something cool.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
on
sir.
YouTube.
Oh, we're going live
Go check
right
it
now.
out. Memorial Memo. You're live on there.
There we go. KSR YouTube channel. Big. Let me look at that. He's even got the icicle shirt on almost.
Oh yeah, he does. Yeah. That's what the soccer team, Lexington Sporting Club, used for
Nerding out about WWE for a second. They had a PLE this morning. I didn't get to watch it because I was getting ready for this, but I heard some good stuff. I wonder if he watched it anyway. Back to women's basketball.
Yeah, you lose me on WWE.
If I say anything about WWE, Zach's out of here. But who do you think on this team could be the best shooter? I've heard Asia Boone. Josie Gilvin shot 41% last year at WKU. Probably not Clara Strack, even though Kenny really wants it to be.
Be nice if she was the best three-point shooter. I think it's going to be Asia Boone, just because there's a solidified track record of her just being an efficient shooter over her career at Liberty. And I think that's what she's going to be. Josie Gilvin's going to be asked to do more defensively, whereas she'll still be someone that can still put up points. But Asia Boone's coming into the game to shoot threes. It feels like that's going to be her. She wants to do. Kenny will ask her to do other stuff, obviously, but coming in and shooting 40% from three on 4 or 5 attempts a game is what he's going to want her to do, and she's going to have to do that. And I think she probably is. So, and you're going to need to, because they didn't really have a lot of 3-point. They had 3-point shooting last year, but not. It wasn't great. They weren't a 3-point shooting team,
which is kind of crazy.
And you lose your two best of them in Georgia and Deja. So you got to find replacements, and you've got more depth in that regard. But yeah,
we think of last year's team as kind of at times good 3-point shooting team. Did you know they were 1 3-pointer away from tying the school record for season 3? Yeah, 1. And I remember talking to Kenny earlier in the summer, and we told him that, and he was like, "Are you kidding me?" We were 1 away. He was like, "We're going to shatter that, hopefully." I don't know, because
the men's
team
beat it by 1.
The men's team beat it by 1?
Beat it by 1.
And the women, they were down by 1. So
yeah, we're doing great. Thank you, sir.
So it'll be one of those things where, can they do it? I don't know. I think one thing they did learn this summer is that they're a lot taller and longer than they thought they're going to be, so they may not rely on the 3 as much, which could actually, in my opinion, be a good thing, because you think about that Texas A&M game where they shoot 1 for 18, and then you lose that game.
Oh, my gosh.
You have the ability, okay, 3's not going in, okay, we can score inside too.
That's probably the main... That should be the point we talk about is, if things aren't going well from 3, you don't feel like you just have to keep chucking them up there. Because, as good as Clara and Tiani were last year, and Kenny even said this on your podcast, they're not back to the basket girls. They don't want to, post up on the block there and do a couple moves. They can, but that's not their bread and butter. That's not what you're going to rely on them to do. You want them to help stretch the floor a little bit more. So, yeah, being able to play inside out more, or having players that can get into the lane a little bit more as well. I think you're going to see from players like Jordan Obi, Tony Morgan want to get in the lane a little bit more. So there should be more of a balance between your 3-point shooting and wanting to go inside compared to last season at least.
What player or players are you looking forward to watching the most this season?
Lexi Blue. Because I think it's a very important year for her. Like I said, if she doesn't kind of solidify herself in the rotation early on, it could be tough to get in the mix later on in the season, and then maybe you're looking at a worst-case scenario where she transfers at the end of the season. So I think it's important for her to really find a role, find herself on this team, because if she does, it only raises the ceiling. If Lexi Blue is
shout out to Tim Clark, Kentucky Women's Basketball Chief of Staff right behind me. Tim, how are we? There we go. Tim Clark. There we go. There's a lot of good work behind the scenes.
What was I just saying? So, if Lexi Blue is the same player she was last year, I think your floor is still the same. But as Kentucky's floor this year is still the same regardless. But if she can take that next step and be a contributing player, your ceiling gets higher. And you can maybe say the same with someone like KK Carroll. I think the most interesting player that I want to see is just Jordan Obi.
Yeah.
Because we haven't seen her play. And she was great at Penn, an all Ivy League player. I'm looking at her stats right now. Her last year at Penn, 15 points a game, almost 8 rebounds, 2.5 assists, shot 38% from 3. Just a very efficient, great free throw shooter, just a very efficient, smart player. Got her turnovers down a little bit compared to her freshman year as well. So you just want to see the product. I believe, was she that torn ACL or was that Parova?
Parova was ACL, she was Achilles.
man, these
Right.
leg injuries are brutal. So
Yeah.
and she's had a long time. So when do we remember exactly when that injury happened for Jordan?
They were both in the summer. Jordan was, I think, June, July. So
well over a year.
Yeah.
Like, we're looking at Jaden Quains on the men's side. We're trying to be like, can we get him back in 8 months?
Yeah.
Like, can it be a quick thing real
Yeah.
quick? Whereas with Jordan and Prova as well, you're getting 14, 15, 16 months of that recovery time. So they should be ready to go. Like, they should not. They're confident and comfortable with how their legs are right now. So I'm excited to see them hit the ground. I'm sure it'll take Jordan a minute to acclimate herself, learn how to play alongside Tony, learn how to play with all those bigs. But I see her being a great player. I don't want to throw all SEC level because, like, I feel like I'm saying that for like 5 or 6 different players now.
Sure.
So let's not get a little too far carried away. But I think she can be in that conversation because she's going to be a very talented player. And if she can keep those efficiency numbers up, those shooting splits, she's going to be an awesome player here at Kentucky. And I guess you can get 2 years out of her as well with the red shirt.
Right.
Right?
Wait.
Maybe not. No, she wasn't.
No.
She doesn't get a COVID year. So
Yeah, right.
So yeah, this will be her last year as well. But still,
You kind of stole my thunder a little bit with Jordan, but I also want to see Dom Prova because
Yeah.
we didn't get to see her. She's in that same light. But for me, I'm going to say Toni Morgan.
Yeah.
Because, again, we say it a lot. She's replacing Georgia Amore. Kenny has made a really good point of we don't want her to fill Georgia Amore's shoes. We want her to bring her own. I want to see what that looks like, how the offense looks different. That should be really interesting. Zach, I think it's pretty obvious what a few of them are, but what are some concerns you may have heading into the season?
I think a couple of things that we've hit on in this podcast. One is the front court depth. It wasn't necessarily an issue last year, but and Kenny even talked about what happens when Clara Strack gets her second foul a couple minutes in the game because that kind of happened a decent amount, or at least it felt like one of those two, her or Key, were always kind of having to straddle with foul trouble.
I see a certain Jacob Polachek trying to hide amongst the
Oh.
crowd right over here.
I do see
talking
him
to some fans.
Yes,
There we
that's
go,
right.
Jacob.
That's right.
How come he
Mr.
doesn't have Kansas Jayhawk gear on?
Yeah,
Anyway.
we'll see if we can get him on here in a second. But so how do they deal? And it's not even necessarily concerns because we saw how Kenny was able to overcome that last year. But you still don't have a player that's going to be able to really battle down low with your Reagan Beers and your Madison Bookers. How do they handle that? Because those two girls, and I think Texas had another girl in the front court who was also, I think, Taylor Jones. I don't know if she's back this year, but
I don't know either.
But those type of players, they just struggle because Strack and Key are more longer and skinnier type post players. It's just they're not as strong. So how do they handle that this year? How do they deal with trying to overcome that? You tried to counter some of that with Clara Silva. She just wasn't ready for it. Vafors, is that how you say it?
Yes. That's what I've been told, so yeah.
Yeah, you might need some spot minutes from her in a worst case scenario where can you trust her to do that and really be able to use her physicality down low? And then the point guard depth is we were talking about. If Toni Morgan gets 2 fouls early on in the game, you don't really have a true point guard coming in and taking over. You're going to be kind of doing it by committee, and I think that's going to end up being fine because you have a lot of play. Tony Key can kind of dribble around the floor, bring the ball up a little bit. Clara Strack, I don't know. I'd have to maybe see it a little bit more with her to believe that she could actually do that. But Amelia Hassett, you can feel comfortable with her, handling the ball. Maybe not bringing it all the way up, trying to beat a press, but you feel comfortable with her, being smart enough to not just piss the ball away, essentially.
Yeah.
And then you've got Asia Boone, Josie Gilvin, Jordan Obi, girls who have plenty of years, 2 or 3 years of experience playing Division I college basketball, so they know how to handle the ball. They've been in those positions before. So you can talk yourself into it not being too much of an issue. I'm not really worried about 3-point shooting or anything like that. I think they'll be able to have a versatile enough offense. I think the defense will be up to par. It's just a matter of, the center and the point guard position, what happens if foul trouble becomes an issue. And I think that was really kind of, other than depth, I think last year's, those two things tie together. Depth and foul trouble kind of go one-on-one. So that was last year's team's biggest issue. I don't see that being an issue this year, but it's still something I'll be keeping an eye on.
Even knowing those concerns, right? Do you think there is a shot? I think can they and will they is a big difference in question, but can they head into SEC play undefeated. You think about you got to play Louisville on the road,
Yes, because I don't think that schedule's very good.
You play Miami on the road in the SEC Challenge, Maryland down there in Puerto Rico, a really good Belmont team, Purdue, who's not great but still a power conference team. Can Kentucky head in the SEC play undefeated?
Yes, and the SEC schedule is going to be hellacious.
Because I think North Carolina was the only loss they had last year heading in the SEC play.
Yeah,
so.
And last year's schedule the non-conference was not very good. The non-conference schedule, that would be my only maybe critique of Kenny, is I don't think the non-conference, or at least compare, maybe I'm just lost in the Mark Pope juice because that non-conference schedule is just like, what are we doing? Like, you're playing a ranked team every other game. But yeah, so you play Louisville, like that'll be a ranked team. You're probably only going to play like 3, maybe 4 tournament caliber teams though in the non-conference. So on one side, like that's going to allow you to potentially get to a point where you are undefeated. You got to go into Louisville. That's going to be different this year. That was here last year. The game out of Puerto Rico will be interesting as well. Like, how do you handle that environment? But they easily can, just because they don't necessarily play some like. Louisville and Maryland will probably end up being the 2 best non-conference teams they play. I don't think either of them are going to be like top 10 teams by the time Kentucky plays them. So you're not going to. They will be challenged, but it won't be like you're playing all these great teams until you get to the SEC. And then do they get hit in the mouth a little bit early on in SEC play when you had to play some of those top 5, top 10 teams? We'll see, I guess. But they easily can, because they're going to play a lot of bad teams, so they're going to be able to rack up some easy wins, get in a groove that way. And then, what do you do with your Louisvilles and your Marylands?
Number 1 fan, Jacob Polachek.
You got any thoughts on the women's team, Jacob? Get on over here.
Come here. 40-0? Well, there's not as many games.
I think they play a couple less in the regular season, but...
How many? I don't remember what the number is off the top of my head.
I feel like 38-0, maybe.
38-0. We'll call it there. There we go.
Oh, we got a Terrence Clark jersey on that woman right there.
Ooh, there we go.
R.I.P.
He's tuning in. There you go. We got 270 watching, make it 271. Kentucky actually opens the SEC play on the road at LSU.
Fun.
So that could be a tough one. Zach, I'm bringing that up. What game this season are you looking forward to watching the most this year, you think?
South Carolina. It always is, because that's your barometer.
And that's a home game this year, too. Last game of the season.
Kentucky used to play South Carolina 2 times every year.
Right.
Thank God that is not the case anymore.
For the first time in like 30 years, that changed last season. Thank God.
Because they did like a rotate. Like, it wasn't even a rotating thing. Like, Kentucky just got South Carolina twice every year.
Yeah.
And then like some of the other double opponents. I think the only one they repeat this year might be Georgia. Something like that.
No. This year it's Vanderbilt. Last year it was Georgia. And Vanderbilt's interesting. They're a really good team. They have one of the best players in the country, who was the best freshman in the country last year, Michaela Blakes.
Yeah.
Camille Pierre, who averaged like 20 a game last year, really late in the summer transferred to NC State.
Okay.
So they lost a big star piece there, but Vanderbilt's still a good team. But that Kentucky, they could go 2-0 in that. I think for me, the game I'm looking forward to the most, South Carolina's a really good one.
Yeah.
I think an Ole Miss revenge game at home is really good. Mm-hmm. Tennessee on the road's intriguing.
Tennessee's going to be good again this year.
You know what? Kind of under the radar a little bit. Oklahoma at home.
That'll be a revenge game.
Because you know what? You're right. Because I was going to say we beat Oklahoma in the regular season, but they got us in the SEC tournament.
Exactly.
That should there'll be a really good.
Was it the one at home where Georgia just went on? That was her 43-point game,
That was the
right?
43-point game.
Right.
Yes. That is truly one of the greatest spectacles I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
I wasn't there for that because it was on the road. I was watching it on TV covering it, but how in the world? The way she took over that game was just absolutely insane. But for me,
to that South Carolina
game,
point, I'll let you talk about it.
Go ahead.
But that's kind of your barometer of, all right, where do you stack up in the rest of the league? Because you know that South Carolina's going to be a title contender. I'm not saying you have to go in and win that game, but that's a game every year that if you want to prove that you are a title, SEC championship caliber, want to make a run to a Final Four, you have to be competitive in that game, and you have to win it every now and then. So I think the last win against South Carolina was probably the SEC tournament.
Yes,
if I had to guess, because I can't imagine that they beat them over the last couple of years. So that's your bar. If you can be competitive against South Carolina, and I feel like they were last year, maybe early in the games, and then maybe as it kind of got on.
Last year against South Carolina, with 4 or 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, we were down by 1. So.
Yeah, and then it maybe got a little bit out of hand from there. That's right. So that's your test. All right, that's how do you stack up? Because you know that South Carolina is going to be that caliber. Maybe LSU is kind of on the same level, but not really. Like, you just know what you're getting at South Carolina every year. So that would be my game. But back to your point on Oklahoma.
Yeah, Oklahoma is just going to be such an interesting game because the play styles match so well. Reagan Beers, can I ask you something? Please do not bear hug Clara Strack when we're playing, okay? Like, can we keep this a basketball game and not... I was talking about WWE earlier. Let's not make it that, right?
So,
like, let's keep it a basketball game.
Back to your podcast with Kenny. He was very particular with the words he was talking about when talking about the physicality. Maybe like sending a subtle message being like, hey, if any SEC ref is watching this podcast, maybe realize that we don't want to see players just getting beat up all the time.
Well, that's a big topic in the WNBA right now.
Well, yeah. I mean, we've had the whole Kathy Engelbert, like, Nafis Collier situation, like that whole battle essentially, literally over the physicality of refs. So you don't want to see that bleed into, and that's going to be a talking point. So you don't want to see that bleed into the college basketball this year. But he was very particular with the words he used on that, because I think part of it is he probably knows that, like, to the point of talking about battling some of those bigger post players, he doesn't have girls that can overcome that type of over aggressive physicality, which is to the point of that's my boy Paul. Oh, he's not looking at me. To the point where you're kind of at a disadvantage because the game's not being called fairly. So that was not on accident, the way he brought all that stuff up. So we'll see how that'll be something to watch, and it'll be a talking point on just women's basketball in general because of how things have unfolded the last 3 weeks in the WNBA.
We talked about games we're looking forward to watching. Now, Zach, you mentioned South Carolina. Now I'm curious where you go with this. What will be Kentucky's, not including an SEC championship or a potential national title or anything like that, what will be Kentucky's biggest win of the season?
Louisville on the road.
I say LSU on the road. I think Kentucky, they drop a game or two in non-con, but I think they start with a win over LSU on the road. But go ahead, talk about Louisville.
Well, I think that Kenny Brooks he's got a lot of experience playing Jeff Walls from the Virginia Tech days.
I believe he's won 4 straight over Jeff, too.
Yeah.
So
if we're being honest, Kentucky should have lost the game last year.
Yeah, they should have. Yeah.
They were kind of just getting beat up for about 3 quarters until they decided that they were the better team, and it showed in that overtime when they won by like 10 points in the overtime period. But I think you're about to see some dominance coming in that rivalry between Kentucky and Louisville. Like, I think Louisville's maybe trending, not necessarily not downward, that maybe like I think they're kind of leveling off a little bit and maybe starting to hit a little bit of a dip. Maybe Jeff Walsh has kind of reached the peak of what he can do there. We'll see. I could be completely wrong about that. They could easily go to a Final Four this year.
Sure.
You know, it's not that long ago they were competing for stuff like that. So, but I think Kentucky's momentum is going up. Louisville's isn't. So I think that's a series you're about to see dominated by Kentucky over the next few years, and it's going to continue with this year in Louisville, which will be a packed game.
What is your hot take heading into the season? Do you have one particular hot take about this team?
Ooh, I didn't think of a hot. I probably should have thought of a hot take. You give me your hot take, and then I'll think of one while I'm doing it.
The Kentucky offense without Georgia Amore is going to be better. Even as good as she was, the Kentucky offense is going to be even better with Toni Morgan at point guard. Not because she's necessarily a better player than Georgia Amore, but because of the fit being so much better, I think, with the complementary styles of play with her, the wings, the centers. I think Kentucky's offense, even without Georgia Amore, is going to be even better.
All right, here's what I'll say. Kentucky will go to the SEC championship game. Steven even got a whoa out of him from that one. So they haven't been back since they won it in 22. I don't think they've been in it before then for a long time. Couldn't give you an exact year, but it had been a long time. Like, that's not a game that Kentucky gets to very often. So I don't think they'll finish like 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 in the SEC standings, but I think they'll get that double bye first. They'll finish like 4th or 3rd, whatever it ends up being, and get a good path to go to the there's my guy. Get a good path to go to that SEC championship game. That's not really that's kind of a warm take. So I'll make it hotter and say that they win it. They go in there and they win the SEC championship.
Wins the SEC title.
They won't be a top 2 team in the conference in the standings, but they will go in, get that double bye, and win, I guess, 3 games and win the SEC championship. And they'll be playing their best basketball going into the tournament.
Well, this is the point I want to end on, Stephen. This is where we're going to end it, so you can get ready for Sources Say. One reason, and this is a great leadoff. One reason why Kentucky can go win the SEC championship, or one reason why they can make their first ever run to a Final Four?
Front court continuity. I think that is you've got your starting 3 front court players are all coming back. They're all really, really good. 2 of them are all SEC caliber players. One is the reigning SEC Defensive Player of the Year. You know what you're going to get. We mentioned it earlier. You know you're going to get rebounding. You know you're going to get rim protection. You know you're going to get enough defensive versatility where, like, you can trust Tiani Key to go guard. Maybe not a point guard, but you can trust her to guard.
She can bring the ball up the floor.
Yeah, she can bring the ball up the floor. She can guard smaller players. So you can, like, cover a lot of bases. So I think all of that being together, having another year under Kenny Brooks' system, especially for Tiani Key, having, like, because Strack had the whole year at Virginia Tech where she really wasn't playing, but still got that year under. So now you've got that whole extra year with Tiani, with Emilia. I think that is just a massive leg up against the rest of the competition, where you just know you're going to get production night in and night out from those 3. And it just kind of depends on what the other group of players can bring to really elevate the rest of the team. But when you have a trio like that in the front court, you are going to be competitive every night.
There we go. It's going to be a super exciting day here at BBN United Fan Fest.
Are we done? We're done?
45. We got ready for Sources Say, brother.
Yeah, I got to
rest your voice for 15 minutes.
I got to go eat some food, actually.
Go get some
my
eat.
belly's rumbling.
Got to get Jack over here.
What should I get? So Chick-fil-A's open? Hey, Jacob, go get me some Chick-fil-A, would you?
But my point is that it's a really exciting day. Big Blue Madness night, 6 o'clock, SEC Network Plus. Zach, again, we're leading into what could be a great season. Shout out over here. Look at this.
Oh, that's some swag on that guy right there.
There we go.
I like that.
Anyway.
I don't know if it's his size.
Well, for a second I thought it was Khalil Whitney because I saw him earlier. And I was like,
no.
I'm horrible with names and faces, especially him, because I don't know, he was kind of here.
He was here for a couple weeks, yeah.
But really exciting day, exciting season, like I was saying. We're going to wrap it up. Jack Pilgrim walking up here.
Jack, will you give me some Chick-fil-A?
Jack is ready to kick me off of this table per usual. Time for...
Oh, that worked, actually. It's that right here. It didn't want to leave you.
It's time for Sources Say here in about 15-ish minutes.
Let the mics charge.
We'll get back.
Your podcast room.
Thank you all for tuning in so much. Stick around. Sources Say. Jack Pilgrim, Zack Geoghegan right here. We will see you guys next time. Thank you so much.